Hello, my name is Brandon Enright, and this is a video tutorial on how to solve Gelatinbrain's 1.1.4 puzzle. This puzzle is a face-turning dodecahedron, and it looks, well, somewhat like the Starminx, and the reason it is because this is the puzzle that is the cut depth halfway between the Pyraminx Crystal and the Starminx. So if you recall on the Starminx, the cuts along the face went all the way to the corner, which completely eliminated this corner piece, and it made the centers larger and it made these Starminx points larger. On this puzzle, the cuts are just shallow enough to keep the corner and just deep enough to create the center and the Starminx pieces. So this puzzle is a Starminx plus a Pyraminx Crystal. That is, this is the Pyraminx Crystal corners and Pyraminx Crystal edges, and then Starminx centers and Starminx points. So it has all the pieces of both puzzles. And the reason I think it's a valuable exercise to learn how to solve this puzzle is because the techniques that apply to this puzzle apply to a large number of other puzzles, and a number of Twisty Puzzle Forum members have made puzzles that are similar to the Starminx that have some or all of these Megaminx corners, so I think it's worthwhile to cover this. So this tutorial is going to build off of my Starminx, how to solve a Starminx tutorial, which is a 4-video series on how to cover the Starminx. So if you're not familiar already with how to solve the Starminx or with how to construct basic commutators, you should first go and view my Starminx videos. So just to recap, you construct a commutator by finding a way to isolate a piece. So for the edges, you isolate a piece that way, and you can create a 30 cycle. And then there's another type of commutator that is an orientation changing commutator, where you change the orientation of a piece. And then so that was the X part, and then I'm doing the Y part. Okay, so there we go. So we just changed the orientation of 2 pieces. And I also introduced how to cycle centers such as this. So 3 cycle centers, and then I even covered how to cycle the Starminx points with a routine such as this one. And there you go. These points are really small, but cycled the orange, the blue, and the purple points. And so that's just recap. I'm not going to cover that in any more detail. What I want to talk about now is how to solve this puzzle. Now, because these are Megaminx Crystal, well, they're Megaminx corners / Pyraminx Crystal corners, they're relatively hard to isolate by themselves. So like, it'll take you a ton of setup moves before you could try to isolate that corner and solve it pure. So instead of trying to do so, your best bet is to actually solve all of the corners on this puzzle. You can imagine if it were scrambled like this, you would want to solve all of the corners on this puzzle as though you were solving a Megaminx or a Pyraminx Crystal. And then you would want to go about solving all of the edges, because as you can see, the edge routine does not affect the corners at all. And really, it shouldn't affect the corners, because as you can see in this overlap that we have here, there is no corner involved in this overlap, in the isolation of the piece. So really, there is no reason why the routine would affect the corners, and indeed it does not affect the corners. So if you're already familiar with how to solve a Megaminx, and you're like, okay, well I can go ahead and solve these Megaminx corners, no problem, and then go about solving a Pyraminx Crystal, then go for it. But I want to show you how to solve the Megaminx corners in sort of a more intuitive way, so you don't have to memorize any sort of routines. And of course, the more intuitive way that I sort of believe in is commutator construction. So again, with commutator construction, the basic idea is to isolate a piece. Now, if you do a move, you turn a face on a Megaminx, you pretty much did not isolate any corner piece. If we want to turn that corner piece, we have no option but to turn a second corner piece, or that face or this face, or we did not isolate a piece in a single move. So instead, we're going to need to isolate a piece in 3 moves. So here, let me show you if we do that. Okay, so let me do that again. Turn that up, turn that over, turn that down. Okay? We now have this piece, this corner, and it is isolated in this face. So if we do that, and then we undo our X part, then we undo our Y part, we've just created a 3 cycle of 3 corners, and we did not affect anything else because we isolated a corner without any other thing in the overlap. And so let me show you that again. This time, okay, so this time what we'll do is we'll end up cycling like this corner up here, and this corner, and say that corner. So turn that up. Now we're going to take this corner and put it right there, and pull that down. Okay, now we have the overlap right there. Now we're going to put that corner in its place. Okay, and then we're going to turn that back up. We're going to undo our sequence, turn that down, and there we go. We created a 3 cycle of that corner, and that corner. And so really, like, you can do it just basically any corner. You can just go, okay, I want to do that corner, and let's say that corner, and that corner. Okay, so let's do this. Okay, so this corner, we're going to put it up. We're going to put the other corner we want to cycle right there. Pull it down. So now we've isolated that corner. Now we need to cycle this corner in there somehow. So there, put it there, put it there. There we go, 3 cycle of 3 corners. The Megaminx is an incredibly easy puzzle, and the corners on the Megaminx are just so easy to isolate that it's a great way to practice your corner cycling techniques or your commutator construction techniques, because you can really just go, okay, I want to cycle, any 3 corners, and it just somehow works out really easily and very intuitively. Now, if you'll recall, that's not the only thing that you can do with a commutator sequence. So constructing 3 cycles like that, where you put another piece in there and then you undo it, and constructing that sort of 3 cycle, that's not the only way that you can construct, or the only use for commutators. These corners, they have 3 stickers on them, and indeed they have three orientations available to them. So like this corner right here, if we did that, we have just changed the orientation of the corner. Obviously we broke a whole bunch of other things too. But we're going to use that principle to orient 2 corners. So again, we'll put this piece up and we'll move another piece over. Okay, now what we need to do is this piece is isolated, but instead of replacing it with another piece, we need to change its orientation and put it back into place. And so here's a way to do that. Move it down. Okay, now we just put it back in place with a different orientation. And then we'll put it back up. So we're undoing the X part. Now we need to undo the Y part. And there we go, we just changed the orientation to 2 corners. And again, the Megaminx is a very, very easy puzzle to do this sort of thing. And so if you want to change like 2 super far away corners, so let's change the orientation of this corner and the corner that is opposite it, which is, I believe, this corner. So that corner to that corner, we want to change the orientations. So let's move that corner right there. Then we'll put it up. Now we're going to need to bring this corner over into its place. Pull it down. Okay, so now we've essentially sort of swapped their places for a second here. Now we're going to need to change the orientation of this corner. So let's do this. Okay, change its orientation. So now we need to go and get our other corner. Pull it down. And there we go. We just changed the orientation of that corner and that corner. No problem. Now, the trouble, so let's pretend that this is solved for a second. We're going to completely ignore it. So suppose you're on the last layer and you have this twisted corner, and suppose you don't care, you need to twist this corner too. So what you need to do is you need to fix the orientation of this corner and break some other corner. Let's pretend it's already broken. So you need to figure out how to change this corner's orientation so that it goes back into place properly. So what you can do, so if you, so let's do this. So let's push, no, okay, so I got to think about this. Okay, so let's push this corner up and then bring that corner and bring it down, right? Okay, so here the white sticker is on this side. But when we push it up, what we really want is we want the white sticker to be on this side. You see the purple ones on top. So we need to change this piece's orientation in such a way that the white sticker goes into where this purple sticker is. So if we try this, that did not work. So what we need to do is we need to try that. Okay, there, now the white sticker is in that purple sticker's place. Okay, so we push it back up. So now look, it looks fixed. We've changed its orientation. Now we just need to undo the damage that we did, and there we go. So we just changed the orientation of this corner, and then we broke the orientation of that corner. And so if we want to fix this, for example, so without any sort of pre-memorized routine or anything like that, we want to twist this corner, and we want to do it completely pure. Now it turns out that whenever you change the orientation of one piece, so if you turn one piece clockwise, the other piece must turn counterclockwise, at least on this puzzle, because the total twist of the puzzle is preserved. So that is, if you add up all of the twist on this puzzle modulo 3, then the twist is always 0, and every move you do on this puzzle maintains 0 twist. So we need to fix the orientation of this one and the orientation of this one. And I promise you I have not memorized this or anything like that. We're just going to do this via pure intuition. So we need to fix the orientation of this corner. And it will automatically fix the orientation of that one because they have to have opposite twists because they're the only two things broken on this puzzle. So I'm going to bring this corner up, bring that corner down. Now, you'll see here that we want to fix the brown, and the blue sticker is in the brown sticker's, the desired place for the brown sticker. Okay? So let's actually leave it right there. Okay, so we need to get the brown sticker to the blue. We already saw how to do that. Okay, now we're going to push that up. There, it looks solved. Now we're going to bring this one down. Now we have to undo the damage that we did. And how do we do that? I think we do... no. Okay, so I'm going to have to undo a couple of steps here. Keep on undoing here. Okay, so now we need to do that. Okay, so as you can see, solving on a computer is a great thing because you have undo. So if we were solving on a physical Megaminx, we would have just been, well, pretty much screwed right there. So I've shown you how to do it on a Megaminx, and now let's switch over to the 1.1.4, the hybrid between the Starminx and the Pyraminx Crystal. And we're going to do a real simple corner permutation sequence. Okay? Okay, so now we rotated this corner, or we cycled this corner, and this corner. Now you can see it created a huge mess on this puzzle. A whole bunch of edges are broken. There's some Starminx points that are broken. But remember, we're working on this puzzle as though it was in a scrambled state, and that we were only working on solving the corners, and we weren't going to pay attention about the edges. We haven't gotten to the edge solve phase yet. So, as you can see, these are the only 3 broken corners on the whole puzzle. Even though we did all this damage, we did not affect any of the corners. And this is really because these are Megaminx corners, and as you saw on the Megaminx, the routines that we're doing here preserve all the corners except for the ones that you want to cycle. And then, of course, the orientation changing commutator too. So let's bring that down, bring that up, bring that over, and then undo. Okay, so we broke a whole bunch of things, but if you look at just the corners, the only 2 rotated corners, everything else is solved, is that corner and that corner. So using that principle, you should be able to solve the corners on a Megaminx or on a Starminx, or really any, using those principles, not the exact sequence of moves. You should be able to solve any type of piece that has multiple orientations, corners on pretty much any puzzle, as long as you can find a way to isolate it, find a way to rotate it around without, colliding with anything else you've already done, and you should be able to solve those puzzles. So again, to recap, solve the corners on this puzzle, then solve the edges, then solve the centers, and then solve the Starminx points. So these points right here. Okay, good luck.